welcome everybody to our early broadcast of Jerusalem's Gate. It's wee hours of the morning. I tell you what, yesterday, what a day. A lot of people thought an attack was going to go down last night. I started staying up and pulling an all-nighter. I really did. And it just goes to show, the Lord, I had this feeling and a scripture came to mind saying, don't worry about tomorrow, for each day has its own trouble. And I went to bed and nothing happened last night, even though a lot of people were talking about a strike happening last night. I think cooler heads prevail in this. And the video that I'm going to show at the end of these articles I want to talk about briefly talks about that. Now, if I was President Trump, would I launch an attack against Syria? If I knew that those children and women something happened to those women and children and men, because I seen the videos, and some kind of gas or chemical or some kind of agent did that to those women and children and men. And the scenes I seen was horrific. I wouldn't dare post that on Jerusalem's Gate. But I think Trump is probably going to build a coalition. Make sure the coalition is all on one page, because there would be retaliation from Russia. The articles I want to talk to you this morning is the first one is out of Reuters, and I'll try to be quick as possible because we got a lot of ground to cover, and I pray that y'all stick through this video because I do have a video at the end of these articles. Out of Reuters, Russia warns any U.S. missiles fired at Syria will be shot down. So Russia is giving their position. If any attacks happen, they will be shot down. Not only they will be shot down, but the site where it was launched from will be shot down or attacked. Read a little of the article. Russia has warned that any U.S. missiles fired at Syria over a suspected chemical weapons attack on a rebel enclave would be shot down and the launch sites targeted, raising the possibility of a U.S.-Russian confrontation. My goodness, it's getting heated up. It's definitely getting heated up. You have to be careful what you see out there. I know I'm a small Christian news network, but some people may come across posts that they're not familiar with, or that they're not familiar with the source. It may be just a post they came across as somebody put a statement and got a picture from wherever and put on there. I'd be a little leery of, unless you know the source and you trust the source. Now, a video is a little different. It's hard to dispute that unless it's doctored up by somehow. There's a couple of articles I wanted to show you. Now, the article that I want to show you next is out of the Washington Free Beacon, and I believe it's the Washington Free Beacon. It's a very reliable source. This is what troubled me and knew that something perhaps is going to go down. Report: Russian military jamming U.S. drones over Syria. Let's go into the article. The Russian military is jamming U.S. military drones operating over Syria, creating problems for American operations, according to a new report. 4 U.S. officials told NBC News that the Russians began jamming smaller U.S. drones several weeks ago. So they were planning this several weeks ago. That's kind of strange. After multiple suspected chemical weapon attacks perpetrated by the Syrian government on civilians in Syria's rebel-held eastern Ghouta. So they've been jamming the drones for a while now, suspecting that this was going to happen. Now, the last article before the video shows is coming out of TRT World, and it was on March 23rd. So it's a little old, but it's important. Russia is preparing for a possible U.S. attack in Syria, and this is back on March 23rd. According to a senior Russian official who spoke to TRT World, Moscow believes the U.S. might militarily intervene in Syria against the regime. But when the war ends, Russia is pushing for a federal system for the country. My goodness, it all boils down that, where did that gas or chemical attack happen? Because there's something definitely happened. If the Russians are saying that nothing happened, there was no gas attack or chemical attack, that's not true. I seen the video, and some kind of gas or chemical attack happened without a doubt. I got a video coming up for y'all guys and girls. Hey, before I show the video, I want to thank you for the new subscribers. I know I'm a very small Christian news network, and every subscriber counts, and I'm trying to build up a channel, and any help is much appreciated. We do not make any money off of Jerusalem's Gate. We do it for the love of getting the news out with a Christian perspective. So if you're interested, we would definitely thank you if you subscribe. Maybe give us a thumbs up if you like it, or leave a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the videos. But with that said, we have a video coming up right now.
A major show of force. President Trump deploying the USS Harry S. Truman strike group to the Middle East and Europe as tensions with Syria heat up. David Lee Miller is live for us in the Middle East with more on the move and how our allies are responding to the horrific chemical attack. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Heather. The region is now bracing for a U.S. military response to the reported use of chemical weapons by the regime of Bashar al-Assad in Syria. The USS Donald Cook left Cyprus on Monday and is now within striking distance of Syrian targets. Published reports say it has an arsenal of 50 Tomahawk missiles. As you mentioned, also on a scheduled deployment to the region, the USS Harry Truman. And due to the heightened tension here, European air traffic controllers have been put on alert regarding possible military action against Syria. Airlines have been told to prepare for possible disruption of navigation equipment. In addition to the U.S., the UK and France are calling on the international community to respond to Syria's alleged use of chemical weapons. Efforts to resolve the crisis diplomatically ended in a deadlock at the United Nations, with Russia failing to win passage of its own resolution and vetoing a U.S. resolution that called for an independent investigation into what happened last weekend when dozens died in an apparent chlorine gas attack in the rebel-held town of Douma. U.S. UN Ambassador Nikki Haley accused Russia of siding with the Assad regime at the expense of victims of the chemical attack.
This resolution is the bare minimum that the Council can do to respond to the attack. The key point is our resolution guarantees that any investigations will truly be independent. Russia's resolution gives Russia itself the chance to choose the investigators. There is nothing independent about that.
And a high-ranking Russian general is now cautioning that Russian forces are on the ground in Syria and that, if threatened, retaliatory measures will be taken. As for the White House, the Trump administration says, Heather, that as of now, nothing is off the table.
All right, David Lee Miller live for us. We're definitely keeping an eye on that this morning. Thank you.
I just heard that they broke into...
With the UN in deadlock over the suspected chemical attack in Syria, the diplomatic option for US President Donald Trump's so-called forceful response appears to have disappeared. Targeted economic sanctions against Syria and its allies Iran and Russia could still be used. A unilateral military strike like the one ordered last year from US Navy ships in the Mediterranean on a Syrian airbase is a possibility, but France and the UK could be involved this time.
Part of the question that is sort of hanging out there is what would really be the underlying goal of a strike other than to simply be shown to be responding? Would it actually accomplish something militarily or politically?
In the meantime, members of the chemical weapons watchdog, the OPCW, are preparing to visit the site of the suspected attack to determine if chemicals were used, but not to assign blame.